We're just shooting a scene, Grace.
But you gotta break my damn door.
No, we're done now. That was the last one.
This is why you can't stay.
I understand.
This is why.
Do we get that? So, after Mandy said,
The marriage is over.
I called Ashley and asked her, do you still want to break up?
Yes.
But I still needed help on the show. So I asked her, do you still want to edit together?
Sure.
So later that day, Ashley went to New Jersey for the weekend with Robert. And the plan was that she and I would edit together at my office when she got back. But while she's there, she starts texting me. So that was confusing. But she gets back from New Jersey, and we meet in my office, and before you know it, we're making out. And we make out for a long time, and then we finally start editing, and within a few minutes, there's a knock at the door.
The building's closing.
What? I thought it was open till midnight.
No, that's regular school hours. This is summer hours. It closes at 7.
So we can't edit. What do you want to do?
I don't know. You want to go to my place? We could get stoned.
And I'm like, okay. So we go to Ashley's place, and we get stoned, and we make out some more. And then we try to edit. But she has like 17 roommates, and she lives in, it's like a communal housing situation. And, it was hard to find a place to edit. And, people were resenting that I was taking up this shared communal space. So we ended up editing in her room, which is just a closet with like no windows. And the only place we could edit was on the bed. And, the hard drives kept disconnecting because it was like bouncy. And it's really frustrating. So we just get stoned again and have sex. But we keep trying to edit at her house. And we get to this scene.
Don't go out with Ashley.
And Ashley gets upset. So I follow her to her room, and she's crying on the bed. And when I ask her what's wrong, she says,
I don't want to be in this show anymore. Everyone's going to hate me.
No, they won't. And if they do, so what?
People are going to say that I'm a homewrecker, that I broke up the parents of your children, I destroyed your family.
No, they're not. They're going to hate me. I'm the one who's going out with a 24-year-old.
No, they're going to hate me.
Well, they'll hate us both. But that didn't really make her feel better. So I tried giving her a massage, and that didn't really work either. Meanwhile, Mandy's in school 3 days a week. And I have to watch the kids while she's in school, so I'm not getting anything done. And I'm getting irritable with the kids, and I'm like yelling at them. And I'm like, if only Ashley could come over, she could be so helpful with the kids and with the editing, and I'd get so much more done. Mandy, please. It would make things so much easier. We wouldn't have to pay a babysitter.
No fucking way. You babysit the kids.
So Mandy's making it impossible for me to finish the show, which means I can't pay our bills, so I'm getting really stressed out about money. Also, when I see Ashley, I can't see the kids. And when I see the kids, I can't see Ashley. And I'm starting to resent not being able to integrate Ashley into my life. And then Mandy says,
You know what would be great for the show?
What?
You should let Jamie interview you.
So Jamie hosts a live interview show at this hipster bar in Brooklyn.
You guys could have a conversation about honesty.
Okay. Anyway, I wasn't sure what her motives were, but Ashley said,
We should all get stoned together after the show.
That's a great idea. Maybe Jamie could help talk Mandy into letting you come over. So I sent Jamie a text. And also, Ashley really wanted Robert to come because she thought it would be healing. She'd been trying to get him to meet me ever since we started seeing each other. And his response was always, but Ashley was finally able to talk him into it. And so I meet him for the first time. You're really tall.
Oh, not that tall, really.
So here's the thing. Robert was the one who had introduced Ashley to my work.
It's not that I'm only jealous of you being with her. I'm also jealous of her being with you because I love your work.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I've been a fan for a long time.
Oh, thanks.
So it was kind of weird to have her hanging out with you. And I'm like, where am I? I don't get to hang out either.
Oh.
It's like you guys are hanging out. I'm just out on the side. Like, what? I mean, this is really strange.
I'm sorry.
It is what it is.
So he's really sweet. And then we do the show, and Jamie's being kind of hostile.
One of the questions I have about your show is that it imposes your ethic on other people in an almost imperial manner.
And he's not really interviewing me so much as trying to prove that being honest is like unethical.
You've said in a couple interviews that you think truth can create a lot of pain, right?
And Mandy's there, and she's like loving it, and she's like egging him on.
To be fair, she's a pretty long-suffering person at this point in terms of putting her life under your umbrella in terms of being in films, and I'm thinking going all the way back to, you know, In the Bathtub of the World and your marriage being on I'm a Sex Addict, and, you know, she's been there throughout and obviously has hit a point where she can no longer ascribe to what you want from her.
But what he's not telling the audience is that he's sleeping with Mandy. So I tell them. And then she had sex with you.
Right.
And, and
what did that, but what got unleashed from that? I mean, that loosened a bunch of stuff in your relationship, right?
It was great. It was great.
It was helpful.
Yeah. So after the live interview thing, we go to this community garden that Jamie's a member of to get stoned. But Mandy has gotten really drunk. And when people are drunk, they're not nearly as peaceful and loving as when they're stoned. Plus, there was barely any pot, so no one got that high. And then Mandy starts yelling at Ashley.
You came into my fucking family. I didn't come into your fucking family.
I know,
you came
Mandy.
into my fucking family.
I'm not trying to come into your family.
You.
I'm not even trying.
Well, you didn't. Maybe you're not trying, but you fucking did. You fucking did. You slept with him. I wasn't even done with him. And you fucking are having like a relationship and you're fucking in
You
love.
weren't done with him. You're fucking sleeping with his friend.
I was not.
You were sleeping with his friend. I didn't sleep with him until you slept with his friend.
And Robert is alienated, and Jamie is like,
It's a beautiful night. Can't we just enjoy the garden and just keep it light and have a nice time, right?
and Ashley is like hating Jamie. She still like resents him for the way he treated me during the interview.
It reminds me a little bit of a cult, right? And you're, you know, even the way you're dressed right now is like a little culty, and it's nice. It's a nice white culty thing.
And Robert's like, what am I even doing here? And I feel bad for him. And finally, him and Ashley leave together, and then Mandy and I leave together. And then in the cab on the way back, Mandy starts being less drunk, and she tells me,
All my friends think I'm being really restrained in all this.
how are you being restrained? You just yelled at her. You won't let her in the house, and you won't let her meet the kids.
My friends would like kill her.
Well, you wanted to kill her too. Also, they're just hearing your side of it. Like, what are you telling them that's making them say that?
She's 24.
That is so unfair. It's not because of her age. It's not like she's 24, I want to be with her. I just liked her. We fell in love. It's not about age. And we have a really good talk. And then Father's Day is coming up, and I'm like, this is my chance to get Mandy to give in a little. So I say to her, here's what I want for Father's Day. I want to go somewhere with the kids and with Ashley. She's going to meet them soon anyway. You know, as soon as I move out, why can't I just have her meet them before I move out?
No fucking way! I'm afraid that I will kill you and I will go to jail if you meet the kids, if you fucking bring Ashley around the kids on Father's Day. How could you even fucking ask me that?
And Ashley's like,
Don't worry about it. I don't need to meet the kids if it's going to cause problems between you and Mandy.
but I want you to meet the kids. I want them to meet you. Like, I need to integrate you into my life. I can't keep doing this. So Mandy's like,
Move out, and then you can do whatever you want.
but I keep trying to explain to her, we can't afford to move out. We don't have enough money to pay our rent. How are we going to pay for 2 apartments?
When there's a will, there's a way.
And she just refuses to work.
I'm in school. I can't work. But you have to leave.
And she tells me later when she's stoned that one of the reasons she wanted me to move out was because Jamie had said,
No one's gonna sleep with you until you're not in the show. It's like having an STD.
so I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to be able to pay for 2 apartments. And then I get an email from Slum Machine, who I hadn't heard from since she had come to the class web show screening. So I'm like, thank God. And I go to Viceland the next day.
Caveh, everybody here totally fell in love with the show about the class.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's great. We love it.
So this is supposed to be the same Viceland guy who came to the Metrograph screening. But the actor playing that guy moved to Scotland. So I ended up replacing him with this other guy because they both have similar hair.
The only problem is that it's not really like Viceland's audience to like have the content be about kids that young.
Oh.
Come on, it's Viceland, man. White males 30 to 35.
Oh.
Yeah. So sort of in that vein, we still would love to work with you, but we kind of need to push for that audience. And we think that we can get a show greenlit by you if it were to take place in like a bar.
You want to make a show about a bar?
Because our marketing people think a show about a bar would kill.
But it's in a bar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't drink. I don't go to bars. I don't like bars, but I need money, so I'm breaking up with my wife. So maybe, sure, I'll do it.
Awesome. Well, then we're really excited to see your style like in that setting.
Cool. How much do you guys pay?
I mean, I don't really know. I don't think it's very much.
Yeah, how much is not very much?
10,000?
Okay, sure.
Okay, great.
So $10,000 isn't enough to get an apartment in New York and live for a year, but it might be enough to get an office, and maybe I could live at the office. It's not legal, but how would they know? So I find an office that's $1,000 a month, which is enough to live there for a year almost. The only problem is there's no bathroom, but there is a bathroom down the hallway, and there's no kitchen. But it's not that far from my house, so maybe I could go home and make food sometimes. And Mandy's like,
Yeah, do it. Get an office. Get the hell out of here. Then you can work with Ashley as much as you want in your office, so long as you're not here.
So I make plans to take the office space for $1,000 a month. And I'm talking to my sister on the phone, and she's like,
What are you talking about? It's illegal.
Yeah, if they catch me.
Well, that's crazy. There's no kitchen, there's no bathroom. Why would you do that? It's a waste of money.
Well, I can't afford to get a real apartment.
Well, how much does it cost to get a real apartment?
I don't know. It's like $2,500 or something.
Well, there might be some money from the settlement that you can use.
So our stepfather died recently. He died from this kind of cancer that you get from asbestos. And he got it from being in the Navy, where they made him like do all this asbestos stuff. And so the families of people who get cancer from asbestos for being in the Navy, usually they're entitled to a settlement from the government to help pay for all the medical costs and to, compensate the families.
It's not a lot, but it might be enough for you to be able to cover the difference between the office amount and the apartment amount.
I mean, if it's possible, I'd much rather get an apartment. So I was looking for an apartment that was near the kids, but also big enough to shoot this camera dress. So here's the thing. I was having to shoot these at BRIC, but the TV studio is never available. And it's impossible to set the lights up in the same way each time so that the different camera addresses match. So sometimes it looks like this, sometimes it looks like this, and sometimes it looks like this. And sometimes it sounds like this, sometimes it sounds like this, and sometimes it sounds like this. In short, nothing ever matches. So anyway, I'm trying to find the perfect apartment, and everything sucks. And then I finally find one that seems perfect.
540 square feet.
And Mandy says,
Great, get out of here.
So I make an offer on the apartment, but the landlord says she wants to meet in person before signing the lease. And she asks me,
So how many people are you gonna have over?
Well, I have people who help me edit.
Well, I wanna meet anybody who comes over. I don't want people coming in and out of my house I don't know.
So I thought that was weird, but I said, okay, and I signed the lease. So I start packing up my stuff, and then we start fighting about how we're gonna divide up our possessions. Mandy, I need to take the DSLR because I need to start shooting camera addresses at my new apartment.
No, that's my camera.
Mandy, it's our camera. You said we could share.
I'm not giving up that camera.
And we have this huge fight. She's refusing to give me the camera, and she also won't even let me take any dishes or silverware. And I'm like, how am I gonna pay for 2 apartments and all new furniture and all new dishes and silverware? It's like, it's crazy. And then Peter is trying to save our marriage by doing this weird ritual.
I'm gonna film you guys watching something that I'm about to play, and then after it's over, I don't want you guys to say anything. And just let me do what I have to do, okay?
And he films us watching the footage of our wedding.
This is a series of I Remembers for Caveh. I remember we met in Melinda Ring's movement workshop. During the break, you asked me what my favorite movies were. I said, Breaking the Waves. And you said, Breaking the Waves is the best movie ever made. And I love that you said that. I remember it felt like an organ had pulled out when you left me in Boston that first time. And then that next time, I was so glad that you missed your plane. Francisco, how we slept on the floor because we didn't have any furniture the first night when we moved in together. I remember looking out the window at you reading on the stoop in the sun, and you love sitting in the sun. I remember watching The Daily Show with you and watching you laugh, your wide grinning face. How can I ever describe your face? Your smiling face. I remember you told me as we stood in the corridor of my Boston apartment that God had sent you to me, and I still believe this.
I remember the first time I saw you. I thought you were pretty, but I couldn't see how beautiful you were yet. I remember the night I fell in love with you. It was on the phone, and I suddenly knew that you were the one I'd been searching for all my life. I remember that first summer, how happy I was. I was so happy that I was driving too fast. And when the policeman pulled me over to give me a ticket, I told him I was speeding because I was in love. And that I didn't mind paying the ticket. That's how in love I was. I remember the drive across country. I kept gazing at your face in the car. You told me to stop, but I never loved anyone that much. I remember our talk on the bench in Nashville and the promise that we made. Let's see this. I remember how you didn't want me to film you for my movie. And then how proud you were of your performance. I remember how you said you didn't feel ready to get married. And then one day, you were finally ready. I remember how much I love you. How much I've loved you. And how much I will always love you.
And then he takes the tape of us watching the footage of our wedding, and he puts it in our hands and says,
The filming of this show broke the bond of holy matrimony. May the breaking of this tape restore that bond.
And he breaks it. And Mandy and I are like, what the fuck was that? Like, it's not gonna save our marriage. And I'm thinking, why the fuck did he break the tape? I could have used that in the show.
The self-reflexivity is exhausting.